Hello, 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 hello. Hi, people. I've just got to wait a little second while we have everyone arrive. And I'll just check that we're on the interwebs. Yay, we are. How lovely. All right. Today, we are having a conversation to consider around money. So, I better turn that down. That would be very confusing for you guys. All right. So, we're having a conversation around money. Now, however you want to take this, if you hear that word and you shrivel up and want to just crunch and go into the fetal position, cool. That's awesome. And if you're like, yes, tell me more, then that's awesome too. There's a massive spectrum of experiences for practitioners on how we deal with the whole idea of money. So today we are going to have a chat about it. Please say hello if you're joining the conversation. I really want to engage everybody and answer any questions that are coming up. If you had signed up for the webinar, then you will have received your two PDFs. One is a tracker and one is a planner. And we're going to have a little squiz at those today and see how useful they can be as well. Hey, Kirsten, nice to see you. Louise is here. Carly's here. Beautiful. So we've also got somebody else joining us, but I am unsure as how we are going to get that to work. Yay. So money. How do we feel about money? So there's been conversations this week in the Naturpreneur Hub all about, how is it that we're actually going to make money? We've been told from day dot that practitioners are doing their job out of passion. It's a passion project and not a business. We've been told that it's for the love of it and not for the money. We've been told that you should always have something to fall back on. What else have you been told? I'd love to hear some of the little catchphrases that we've been ingrained in and kind of engaged in through maybe your family's mentioned it when you said, yeah, I'm going to become a naturopath, or when you said I'm a holistic practitioner and there was a different answer to that. Maybe you got it through your college or your university that, only X percentage are going to actually, make it. So what have you heard around money and practitioners? I'd love to hear it while I try and get our gorgeous extra beautiful person online to have a chat about success and success stories. So what have you heard around money and being a praccie? You'll never make enough money doing that. Who else has heard that? Totally, I heard that. I heard that from a family member. Isn't it just so beneficial? Thanks, guys. Really want to hear that. But nobody says that when someone goes and gets a job at Coles or Woolies, do they? What else have you heard around money? Louise, that's a great one. You'll never make enough money doing that. There is not enough people who want your services. Oh my goodness, yes. You're in a small town. How many people really need to use your services? Why would they use your services when a doctor is X amount of money? What else? Come on, there's got to be more than that. What else? What are all these other little beliefs that sneak in? What's something you might have heard from college as well? There is definitely lots and lots of stories. And that's the thing about these things. They're stories. They're not necessarily the truth. And we don't know that they're stories because so many people tend to tell us it, and we get it from so many different angles that it's hard to tell whether or not there is another option. And that's the beauty of having a group like the Naturpreneur Hub, is you're surrounded by people that give you other options. And the conversations that have been had in the hub have been so brave and so courageous, because this stuff is happening underneath. All of these feelings and emotions and concerns and worries are bubbling under the surface, and occasionally they pop out. And if we've got all of that happening under the surface, imagine the foundations with which you're trying to build your business or trying to get across your confidence in what you're practicing becomes really murky if that's the foundation that you're on. And so if we can bubble that up under the surface up to the top, like having the skim of bone broth come up to the top, and you go, ooh, I don't know about that, but the goodness is underneath. Okay, let's address the skim on top, skim it to the side, because we know that the skim's always going to be there. You know, there's always going to be concerns around money, because that's the nature of money and energy in the world, and that's us as human beings. But acknowledging that it's there and actually talking about it, and then being able to see what's underneath, it's a whole different story to putting your head in the sand and pretending that you don't care about money, that it's not important to you, that it's not important to your life, all of those other things. Jane, you will do this for the love of helping people and not for the money. Yep, I've heard that one too. I can put my hand up for that one too. You only have 2 patients booked. Yeah. That's an interesting one, right, Kristen? That's a really great one, because it depends on what your viewpoint is around those 2 patients. If you're looking at it through the skim of the murkiness of, you could be going, oh my goodness, that's only $120. But if you move that skim out and you look underneath and dive deeper with those 2 clients, they could be your $1,200 clients. You could put an extra 0 on there, and you could have a $1,200 week rather than a $120 week. So it's really interesting. Terry, you'll only end up working in a health food store. Nice. And there is nothing wrong with working in a health food store. We do need qualified practitioners in health food stores. But if that's not your dream, and you do want to create a fully fledged business out of it, you want to be a full clinician in the amount of time that you want to give to it, then why not? You don't need to be working at a health food store if that isn't your bag. So, yeah, totally. I hear you. The other ones, you'll only end up working in a pharmacy. You'll only end up working X, Y, or Z. You'll go back to some other thing. Do you want to know what my dad, even, when I said I would become a naturopath, first when I went and did a university degree, my first uni degree. Oh, welcome, Chanel. So Chanel's just joining us. She's going to be giving you some beautiful practical examples of what she's been doing in her business, and what we've been doing when it comes to money in the club. So when I did my first uni degree, which was, I wanted to do a Bachelor of Arts. So when I did a Bachelor, when I was talking to my dad, I said, oh, you know, I'm really excited because I've done so well in English, and I've done so well in arts, and I'm really passionate about science, but I really love these ones, and that's why I've done so well in them. I'm going to do a Bachelor of Arts. And he said, well, what you're going to get at the end of that is the ability to say, would you like fries with that? I was like, what? Huh? This beautiful offhanded comment is one of many that I have had from my family, and they would like to say that they are so positive and so supportive of my business and my practice, and they are, except it's these little offhanded comments that occasionally creep in that can really get in and build on your already money blocks that are hanging underneath. So that was my first degree. So instead, I flipped the entirely different way and went and did a Bachelor of Applied Science in Medical and Applied Biotechnology. Yes, mouthful, specifically because it wasn't a Bachelor of Arts. So when I had to go the exact opposite way, the same kind of thing happened when my dad dropped me off for uni at Southern Cross. Beautiful campus up at Lismore. One of the best holistic environments to learn my practice of natural therapies. And I absolutely loved my degree, and I loved my lecturers. I loved that whole. But when he was dropping me off, there was a beautiful circle of women with hairy armpits who smelt like patchouli and were chanting together on the oval at the uni. And again, another offhanded comment. Oh, great. So by the end of this degree, you'll be able to stand in the middle of a circle in the middle of a uni oval when nobody's there. And I was like, why did they do this to us? And that's compounded by some of the conversations that even at a fully fledged uni degree, we had conversations about that 1 in 5 of us wouldn't make it, would be the only people that made it. That's backed up by the amount of people that are practicing from my uni degree. You know, we just start to get this evidence here, there, and everywhere that this little belief that we had, we can make bigger than Ben-Hur. And that's why a space like the Naturpreneur Hub is so important, because there is other evidence to show that you can do it the other way around as well. So when I went into practice, I had my first year where, yes, I maxed out multiple credit cards and was in $10,000s of dollars worth of debt. The next year, I got back to zero. And the year after that, so 2.5 years in, I made the same amount of money as what I was making in my pathology job. So I made $54,000. It was the figure I had in my head at about 2.5 years. And I, in 18 months, in the first 18 months, I didn't get a lot of business advice or coaching, but in that second half of that 2.5 years, I had business coaching. I had a mentor. I was doing online business courses. I was surrounded by masterminds and other people that the way that I changed my environment of the people who were around me and the way that the conversation turned around shifted everything for me, and I replaced my income. And then I doubled it the year after. I doubled it the year after that until we were consistently turning over about $300,000 in my clinical practice. So I'm telling you that because it's possible, and I see it time and time again in the Naturpreneur Club. And Chanel, with her beautiful new bubba, has graced us with her presence today. Thank you so much, Chanel, for coming today. I've just got to find out how we can get you on. Have you got your audio there, my dear? Let's see. We're just trying to get the audio sorted because Chanel, gorgeous Chanel, and some of you guys will know her because she is a champion when it comes to the tech side of things. There we go. All right, can we hear you, Chanel? Yay! Yay! Hello, lovely. So Chanel's a champion because not only has she how long have you been out, Chanel?
It'll be 12 months, I think December.
12 months.
So yeah, just over. Yep.
So first year out, and prior to this gorgeous Bubba being born, you were creating an extraordinary practice at home, yes?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And what were the highlights of having your practice at home?
Well, I was at another clinic doing my prac hours, and I had to drive there quite a lot, and it wasn't far, but for me, I'm one of those people that rolls out of bed, with 5 minutes to spare, which I did again this morning. So being able to walk down the hallway was probably the number one thing for me. It's sort of, I didn't have to deal with traffic, didn't have to deal with guys in my own space.
And from a money perspective, you didn't have to spend it on rent either, right?
Definitely, because, you know, being a new grad, you kind of freak out that you're not going to get any clients. I know I definitely thought that, and I didn't have that overhead or that overwhelm of how am I going to pay rent this week, because it was in my spare bedroom. So that was really a big one.
And you went from having 0 people,
but yeah, I suppose
to how many people coming to your clinic?
Started with, I suppose 1 or 2, but I made sure that I advertised, even though I wasn't officially graduated, so I'd actually have clients there. And then it kind of built up, and I wasn't even tracking how many clients. I suppose it was a week. Like for me, I sort of looked at it and went, all right, maybe I was getting 3 or 4 here, and then you'd have your follow-ups about 2 or 3 weeks after that. So I had to make sure I was staggering it, because some weeks I wouldn't have any cash flow at all. But I was probably getting in about $300 or $400 at the start.
Yep, three or
I was pretty happy with that.
$300 or $400 a week, yeah?
Yeah.
From pretty close to the first couple of months, yeah? Awesome. And so you've just had the most gorgeous bobber. Oh my goodness, and he's been so delightful today.
Thank you.
And you're part of the club as well, so I get to know the backstory on you. But you were a little bit worried going into having bobber, right?
It really was. I was thinking, you know, how am I going to do this? It's, you know, hard enough being a mum, I think, and I've really, really realised that. I really take my hat off to people that do it. You know, and running a clinic and doing everything else we have to do. I was really worried about it, as you know, but I don't think I have to be, because I think I'm a lot busier now than what I was before. So
yeah,
it sort of opens up the floodgates to other people.
Yeah. So at the beginning, you were making like $300 or $400 a week, and then you were busting out some of your epic weeks before Bubba came, and they were like thousands of dollars. Now
I had huge weeks before he came. Yeah.
And you've got a brand new Bubba. Well, okay, couple of months. And this week, can you tell us what you made this week, so that everyone can?
So I grossed about $1,300. No, so I grossed about $1,300, which was 2 naturopath clients.
Yep.
That was literally 2 hours worth of work, plus extra tech work I've been doing, so it's probably close to $1,500. The last 2 months have been my biggest 2 months I've had, so it's close to about $4,500 that I brought in each month. It's awesome. So I'm really happy. And that's not even working hard. That's sort of just having everything kind of plonking along, I suppose.
Yeah, having some amazing systems in place and being able to diversify. So some of the biggest things that you have learnt over, like especially the past couple of months, that are your biggest months, and you've got a newborn. Like, if you had the top 3 things?
Yeah, it's crazy.
What would it be?
Just because you've got a baby doesn't mean that you can't work. I suppose getting out of that fear box that I was in, I was so worried about being able to balance it all. And you know what? I shouldn't have to be, because clients it doesn't matter. You know, they don't care if Bub's upset. They don't care if you have to reschedule. They just go, that's fine. We just want you. That goes across the board for if I was doing tech or if I wasn't doing tech. Definitely, you know, not having all my eggs in one basket. I'm really glad that I started actually advertising that I was doing tech, because it sort of, now we're going to get grumpy. It sort of shows you that, you know, there's different avenues that I can make money from. That, who am I kidding myself? I love doing it. So if you can find something that you love doing, it does not feel like work, right?
Beautiful.
So I suppose ignoring that little tiny doubt that you have and just doing it.
Yeah, totally. And what would be a third thing specifically around money, or what you do to keep on top of that money side of things?
Tracking it.
Tracking it.
I like to have my figures. I didn't realize. Yeah, definitely. I actually got a bookkeeper. I've had my bookkeeper for a while. But I actually sit down and run reports of how much money I'm bringing in, how much I'm spending, where I can kind of fine tune it a little bit, but definitely knowing how much I'm bringing in it's a game changer. It's not just, oh yeah, I did this much this week or this much this month. I know that my bills are covered. I know that I've got spending money if I want it. And, I'm contributing as well. So, yeah, I'd definitely say get a bookkeeper or at least a good accounting system and don't just use an Excel spreadsheet.
Yep. So tracking it. So that wasn't always the case though, right? So I remember a time last year in the club where we didn't really want to look at the numbers. So it's totally okay to be in that space and then be really empowered by the numbers, because that's one of the things I've noticed with you, especially Chanel, is I don't want to see them. I don't want to invest in a bookkeeper. I don't want to do that. And now it's like, this is the most amazing thing. Mm-hmm. Look what I did this week. And I know exactly the numbers that go with that. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I suppose it was sort of like, I don't have the money, so I don't want to spend it.
Yeah.
And miraculously, the more money I was spending on things I didn't like doing, the more money I was getting in to cover it anyway.
Yeah, totally. And I see that time and time again, personally, and with mentees as well. Second thing I love about what you said was your second point, and it was diversify. Every single person here in the hub, or every single person who's listening to this, if you want to share this webinar with somebody else, you have gifts and talents that came to you before you were a practitioner. You have gifts and talents that have the ability to be monetized and could be used within our profession anyway. So it's not that you're not contributing to the health of the well-being of the planet. You could be contributing to the health and the well-being of professionals or practitioners, and that's what you've done beautifully, Chanel, because having a VA or having a tech person that understands the way that we communicate is really hard to find. Trust me, it took me 7 years to find somebody who actually got what I was talking about and was on my wavelength. So I love that, how you have embraced the gifts and talents that you've had and worked them within your business. It's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, it does definitely make life easier, doesn't it? I know what iridology is, and a lot of VAs have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
It just makes life a lot easier, I suppose.
Yeah, totally. And you also have a gift for understanding what the people that you work with, what their customers need or what their clients want to see or what they need. And it's a very different way of dealing with it. Most tech people are only tech people, whereas you've got a spectrum along the line that you can actually be really helpful in. So that's awesome. The last thing you talked about, which was actually the first thing you talked about, was around fear. And what were some of the things that helped you overcome the fear of, say, looking at your numbers, or the fear of not making money?
I suppose with the ability of having the bookkeeper there, I was kind of plodding around doing it myself. And it wasn't until I actually paid for that person to go and do it and set it up properly, because I had to get my tax done. So I suppose what was worrying me the most was that it wasn't done right.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was going to do, and my accountant, who's also my brother-in-law, was going to turn around and go, "What have you done to it?" Because I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So definitely having kids let that go a little bit, which is good. And so what was the other one, Tammy?
Yeah, the fear of looking at your numbers, so getting somebody else to do it. I hear you with that, totally. That's been one of my biggest learnings over the decade that I've been in my own business. It's being able to delegate it is so important, and it's a massive step, because at some point you know that you don't necessarily have the money to invest in that, but you have to jump before you're ready. Otherwise, that area of growth can't happen because you're actually holding it back. Definitely. So I was definitely
definitely
back doing that too. Yeah.
Well, we sat there for a good whole 8 hours whilst I was pregnant, And she actually taught me how to do it too. So it's not just delegating it out, which I loved. It's the fact that I now know how to do it as well, so I can do aspects of it. So, which is what I do with my tech stuff. I try and teach people, because I'd rather teach people than, you know, just do it for them unless they really want me to.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, it's so easy for us to understand this in a health context. You know, we sit with our clients and we empower them with the knowledge of their health and their well-being. And we sit with our clients and we empower them with the knowledge of the numbers that they see on their pathology test. We empower them with the 1 out of 10 that they originally came to us with, and the 9 out of 10 result that they feel when they, you know, 3 months down the track. We sit there in this health energy and be, you know, are very fluent in that. But when we sit in the money, like, all we need to change is the H to a W, and all of a sudden we all have this freak out that we have to look at numbers and we have to, like, be empowered by it and all this stuff. But we're doing exactly the same thing. We're just talking about energy and health, or energy of money. It's such an interesting thing that we get so triggered by it. So I am so grateful. I'm going to let Leo do his thing. And so grateful for your inspirational. And I'm just going to go on to the practical side of what we can talk about when it comes to money that we've gone through ourselves through the club. We're going to get a taster of that today, so that people can be a bit more empowered and practitioners can be a bit more empowered around their money. Cool?
That's great. Awesome.
Thanks again, Chanel. Thanks so much for sharing your insights today.
Thanks, Tammy. Bye-bye.